motivated you to join the military?
So since I was about 9 years old, I wanted to join the military. I didn't know Air Force, Army, Marines, or what, but ever since I was little, I wanted to be a part of the military in the United States. I thought that would be really a fun thing to do, and I've always been patriotic. So even at 10 and 11 years old, in my room, I would put a U.S. flag on the wall. That was my decorations. I loved it. So I just figured that was what I was going to do at some point in my life. So I've always wanted to be in the military.
Tell me a little bit about your time in boot camp.
Okay, so when you first arrive, you are the target of anybody else who's been there 10 minutes more than you. You are the newest person on there, and they're gonna harass you, they're gonna bug you, they're trying to make it so that you wanna quit. They're trying to make it hard for you. Because if they can make it hard for you and you quit, then you're probably not gonna do well if you're engaged in any kind of defense or like a wartime experience. If you can't handle basic training, you can't handle any wartime experiences. So they want to get the people out that if they can convince you to get out, that's their job. But if you really want in and you can pass all the tests and you can do everything they ask you to do, then it's a good thing to do. It's a good thing to finish. So the whole thing about basic training, there's the main lesson is that as a person, you're gonna fail if you try to do things on your own. But with your group, you're gonna succeed. You're part of the strongest, the fastest, the best military force in the world. So if you can value the team contribution and you can be a part of that, you can do your part really well, then you're gonna win. But if you try to do it on your own and not depend on your other people and not be dependable for them, then you're gonna fail. So I learned to be a team player in basic training, and that was the most valuable lesson that I could have learned, is that I need them and that they need me. So I have to do my job the best I can.
Okay. What was your primary job after training?
I was a weapons trainer, so I taught people how to shoot guns, how to maintain them if they broke, how to shoot their targets when it was time to do that. So my job was to make sure that if they ever needed to point a gun at anybody, they could hit what they needed to save their own life or to save the life of other Americans. That was my primary job.
Where did you serve the majority of time in service?
So Travis Air Force Base, California is where I spent most of my time. I was also in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Kirtland Air Force Base. But most of the time was in Travis, and that was about 4.5 years total.
Okay. What rank are you most proud to have earned and why?
So this is the rank that I ended my active duty and reserve service. It's a staff sergeant, and that's the rank that I was most proud of. Not only was it my highest, but as a non-commissioned officer, it's when I went from a lower level entry recruit and airman to a sergeant level. So this is staff sergeant. It's the 5th rank that you get through the enlisted ranks. And I'm most proud of that because I became a non-commissioned officer when I was awarded that rank.
That's cool. Which medals or citations are you most honored to have received?
So there's 2 that I think are the most important to me. One is, you see this red and yellow one?
Mm-hmm.
That is the one they give you when you're engaged in national defense. So I supported the war that was in Iraq at the time that I was enlisted. And this meant that I wasn't just in the military, but I was in the military when we were at war. So that one means a great deal to me. Another one that means a lot to me, I don't have on this uniform, but my dad retired from the Air Force and he was awarded this medal. The last medal that I got when I served was the same one. So I could have added it to my uniform, I just haven't done that. But I now have been awarded the same medal that he gave to me as a gift, that he earned the same medal too. So those 2 medals are the coolest ones for me. The one that says I served during wartime, and the other one that says that I've earned the commendation medal, which means basically I've made a distinctive service in some way. I helped our team improve record keeping and they awarded that to me as I got separated from the service. But that was really a good, it was cool to get the same medal that my dad was awarded. It was pretty neat.
Tell me about some of the special people you met.
So, in my opinion, anybody that you meet in the active military, they're pretty cool because they've already decided that the people they serve and the quality of life we have as Americans is so important, they're willing to sacrifice their own freedom and liberty. So you can do anything you want the rest of today. You can say whatever you want and it comes to mind. So when you see somebody willing to do that sacrifice, willing to preserve freedoms at the expense of their own, it's amazing to meet those kinds of people. So some of the most generous people I've ever met are military members. So they are an amazing group of people, and it's an honor just to be among them. It's incredible. The brotherhood you get, the sisterhood within that group. It's a lot of fun to be affiliated with them.
Yeah. What was the best and worst military food you were served and why?
Okay, have you ever heard of MRE?
No.
So there's this bag of food that is supposed to last like 20 years and it'll never go bad. Well, it's because it's already bad. Doesn't taste good. It doesn't get worse, you could say, over 20 years, but it's in a box. And it's meant that it doesn't matter if it's hot outside, if it's cold outside, it doesn't matter. You can open the bag and you can start eating it. And most of the time, you don't have something to cool or heat the food. It's just right out of a bag. And everything is sealed in, not Ziploc bags, but they're really compressed. All the air's been taken out, the moisture's been taken out. So those are called MREs. They're meals ready to eat. And the worst food that I would have said I've ever been served with the military was an MRE with, they called it potatoes au gratin. And rotten is the valuable word now. It just tasted horrible. But you ate it because it's all you're getting today and you're gonna eat it. So I had that, was not my favorite meal. Being served anything that's like they call it the chow hall instead of restaurant or something like that. So when you go to the chow hall and you're having your food, the people that are serving the food, they work hard to make it for you, right? So anything that's warm is gonna taste awesome because you remember the MRE. You're like, I don't want to eat that again. So this is warm and this is good. It's fine. The best food was probably spaghetti. The worst food was an MRE, potatoes au gratin specifically. It was nasty, nasty stuff.
Tell me a funny story you experienced that could only happen in the military.
When we got off the bus in basic training, I'm standing in line with all these other people that just got off the bus. They arrived from the airport and they're ready to start their basic training. And the funny story here is that there's a guy that had brought a rose to basic training with him. And he was saying it was from his girlfriend. So this guy brought a rose and he's standing in formation and everybody else is like, whatever. So the drill instructor, he's hardcore, right? He's yelling. Everything he says is a yell. It's not this dude that brought a rose. And the drill instructor looks at him from head to toe, like twice. Still remember it. He goes, is that for me? Like the guy's gonna bring a rose to his drill instructor. So anyway, the guy's like, no sir. His name became Sweet Pea. And he was Sweet Pea for the entire 8 weeks. And it didn't matter what he did, he was Sweet Pea. And I couldn't stop laughing. After I hear his nickname, I'm like, so I'm thinking, just don't get caught, because then I'm going to be next, right? So the guy comes over and he's yelling at everybody. He comes to me and I'm still trying not to laugh. It's so hard not to laugh at Sweet Pea. So I have to ignore that he's standing right in front of me and he's yelling at me, of course. So when he's done, all I heard was that there was a question. And I was trying to remember, is this a yes question, a no question? I wasn't paying attention. I was ignoring him so I wouldn't laugh. So I just picked one and said, yes, sir. And apparently it was the right answer because I didn't get a nickname out of that. But oh my goodness, it was just that entire event, the way that nicknames are issued, the way that there's a fun part of basic training. When you're doing it, it's not fun. But when you look back and you say, wow, everything that they did to make things difficult was for a reason, and it benefited us as a group, it's an awesome experience. And we have the best military. I'm talking Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, Coast Guard, all of them. We have the best military in the world. And we can pick on each other, but if anybody tries to pick on us as a group, as a country, we're going to win. We're going to win big. And that's pretty awesome stuff. So to be a part of that group, I'm glad I did it. And seeing the war that we're in today, I'm glad it's over for me in terms of active service, because there's a lot of risk there I was never exposed to as an instructor. I work in a classroom. These guys are on the front field, they're on the front line, they're in harm's way every day, and I think it's really cool to be able to honor them, because they're doing that so we can enjoy our freedom. They're not doing it for themselves. They're missing time with their family so we can enjoy the time with ours. That is honorable. It's unselfish, and it's incredible to be a part of that. Do you have any other questions?
Yes. How did your military experience affect your life today?
I think once you've served in the military, you've learned that part about how serving other people it's an honorable thing to do, and it keeps you from focusing on silly little things. It puts a perspective in mind that says there's needs that I can fill for other people. So today, I'm currently volunteering with the Texas State Guard, which is a military unit, part of the Texas Military Department, that I would not have been a part of this if I hadn't prior served in the active military. So I'm doing that so that if there is an event like the hurricane that hit last year, if we have another event like that, I can deploy and serve and be a part of that group that helps people. But it's changed us from our current frame of mind where people are saying, what can I do, what's best for me, and all that kind of thing. It's what can I do to help other people? And it changes the focus. It makes a selfish person unselfish. It makes a self-centered person focus on needs that they can fill for other people. So I don't know what I would be without prior service, but I like who I am, and I think who I am is because of prior service. That's what I think it's done the most for me, is to focus on other people.
Okay.
Pretty cool. So you ready to join? Go in the Air Force? No. But I appreciate you asking. It's super cool, because sometimes people don't get a chance to say it. And I'm more proud of the people that are currently serving than I am on service, because they're fighting a different war than I was ever exposed to. I was in a classroom. I did not serve overseas. I did not deploy. I did not ever take my weapon to aim it to somebody else. My role was to make sure if they ever had to, they could protect themselves. So I did what I was asked to do, and I'd do it again if I was in a position to do so. So thanks for asking. Pretty cool.